My name is Paul Kaplan, and this is another talk in the series on Judeo-Christian resurgence. And this video concerns an error that Christians United for Israel seems to be making that could derail the most important part of the extremely valuable service they will render to the Western world. We begin by observing that Dr. John Hagee must surely be one of the best Christian clergymen in the world. And he's demonstrated great faith and courage by creating the CUFI organization in support of Israel. Now, he must have been absolutely astonished at the coldness and hostility he received from our rabbis, especially because the Jewish people have not received much friendship for the last 2,000 years. And Dr. Hagee deserves a great deal of praise for his courage in holding to his course against such rabbinical opposition. Now, Matthew 24 refers to a group of people known as the elect. And these people are an informed and thoughtful Jewish minority, which is about to burst onto the theological scene. And these people are aware of ancient corruption and depravity amongst the rabbinate, and these informed and thoughtful people are CUFI's proper allies, as opposed to the rabbis. Now, the rabbis that CUFI seeks to ally itself with are the descendants of the Pharisees who murdered Jesus. And these people have deceived the Jewish people for 2,000 years. And these modern Pharisees are very bad news. And Christians United for Israel should avoid them at all costs. As a matter of fact, these rabbis who are giving CUFI a hard time are the same rabbis that John referred to in Revelation 3:9. These are the ones he was referring to when he said, "Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie." Those are the people. And Jesus himself specifically referred to the right people and the right ideas in Matthew 24, verse 31. And Jesus said, "And he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." Well, these elect are the right people, not the rabbis. And Jesus never hid his contempt for the corrupt and cynical Pharisaic rabbis who eventually had him murdered. And Dr. Hagee also needs to know that today's rabbis are the descendants of the detestable Pharisees whose greed for money and power brought Israel down 2,000 years ago. And now that Dr. Hagee is expanding Judeo-Christian cooperation between the Jews and Christians, he is endangering the 2,000-year-old Pharisee stranglehold on the Jewish people. And this is driving them to distraction. And Dr. Hagee will get no help from these modern Pharisees. And they will sabotage him in any way possible, whether he realizes it or not. They want him gone, come hell or high water. And what Dr. Hagee also needs to know is that the rabbis who are giving him the cold shoulder are the descendants of the sons of Belial that the Apostle John referred to as the whore of Babylon. And if Dr. Hagee persists in trying to work with these whores of Babylon, then he might endanger everything he's been trying to achieve all these years. Christians United for Israel is already weakening the rabbinical control of the philosophy of the Jewish people, which the rabbis have reduced to rubbish. And the rabbis will fight Christians United for Israel tooth and nail to prevent the Jewish people from finding out what they are and always have been. If Dr. Hagee will stay away from the rabbis, then his work will be fully in line with Scripture and will set in motion the enormous godly forces foreseen in the Bible. And these forces will take hold, just as predicted in Revelation and Matthew 24. Revelation was probably based on many discussions between Jesus and John in their younger days. And both of these brilliant men could see that the religion being created by the Romans, which later became Christianity, contained weaknesses that would eventually destroy it. And Jesus described these weaknesses of this process with the phrase, when the days of the Gentiles are fulfilled. And we now see this process taking place precisely as Jesus predicted. Now, Matthew 24, as we've said before, refers to the best and brightest Jews as the elect, and predicts that shortly after the Roman doctrines begin to fail as they are now doing, the elect would mount a major effort to overthrow the Pharisee rabbis and restore moral fiber. And this will be an earth-shaking confrontation, which will reveal the leading role of Jesus in the struggle to prevent the cynical and corrupt Pharisees and their Roman cronies from bringing Israel down by swamping the oral law of the covenant under the gigantic Talmud. And this huge uprising against the rabbis can take place at any time. And it will reveal to the Jews the greatness of Jesus and the courage of his efforts on behalf of the nation. Well, of course, the Jews can never accept the idea of the divinity of Jesus, but they will indeed perceive how bravely he fought to prevent the Pharisees from drowning the covenant with the monstrous Talmud. And then the Jews will also comprehend that Jesus had been one of the bravest and noblest gentlemen ever seen in Israel. And we'll understand that he had given his all so that his people one day could regain the covenant and destroy the Pharisees. And as for the Christians, this new insight into the life and purpose of Jesus will enable a new generation of Christian thinkers to liberate their congregations from the obsolete doctrine of Jesus' divinity that is destroying the church and empowering the left. And these same Christian thinkers will join the Jews in creating what the scriptures refer to as the new covenant. It therefore seems that Christians United for Israel is a movement of vast and even biblical importance, and that Dr. Hagee may have written himself into the pages of American, Jewish, and world history. So if Christians United for Israel, if CUFI, is able to defend the Jewish elect and join them as they try to restore the covenant against opposition by the rabbis, then CUFI may turn out to be the place prepared of God, foreseen in Revelation, and Christian thinkers will participate in shaping the new covenant. And Revelation 12 verse 6 refers to this. It says, "And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days." Well, this process will put an end to humankind's 2,000 years of rage against the Jewish people, and America will then truly be one nation under God, which is a gleaming prospect indeed. So, as we've said before, if you generally agree with this video, then you'll certainly agree that this viewpoint must be made known as widely as possible. And we must leverage the enormous power of the internet. And if godly people do this, then the left won't be able to do anything to stop us. However, internet publicity costs money, and if ever there was a case for crowdfunding, it is here and now. So your financial contributions to our Patreon site, however small, can combine into a mighty river that can move people to action all over the world. You may also want to read our book, God versus the Left, which gives the broad biblical picture of where we are now and where we need to go. And this book is available from Amazon. Finally, your comments and suggestions are just as essential as your financial contributions, and it will be most welcome here and on our Patreon and Facebook sites. No one can handle anything as of the magnitude of the second coming without the help of millions of decent people. And please, don't forget to click the subscribe button, because there'll be no shortage of people trying to get these videos banned, and we will probably have to resort to email to get to these videos to you. So this is Paul Kaplan signing out, and advising you that we will be releasing new videos at approximately 1 per week. So until then, thanks for your time and attention.